Hello and welcome to the Vintage Baseball Corner. This is Chris. Today we have a very special episode where we discuss Willie Mays returning back to America's oldest ballpark, Rickwood Field. Rickwood Field was built in 1910, and Willie got his start here playing for the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro National League before signing with the Giants. Thursday, June 20th, Major League Baseball will host the San Francisco Giants and St. Louis Cardinals in MLB at Rickwood, a tribute to the Negro Leagues and to Willie Mays, the oldest living Hall of Famer. Unfortunately, Willie is not going to be able to attend the event. However, Willie did return to Rickwood Field in 2002. I was there. I'm going to share the story with you today. But before we get into that, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on Rickwood Field and why it's important in baseball history. Built in 1910, Rickwood is older than Boston's Fenway Park, which was built in 1912, Chicago's Wrigley Field, 1914, and Evansville, Indiana's Bosse Field, built in 1915, the fourth oldest ballpark in the country. Bosse Field was host to the movie A League of Their Own, and where I played many of my high school and college games growing up. Bosse Field was also the host to the Evansville Triplets, the Detroit Tigers AAA club. Rickwood's history, however, stands on its own. Both the Southern League Barons and Negro League Black Barons called Rickwood home and shared the field. The ballpark also hosted many barnstorming games, exhibitions, and spring training games for major league teams. The 1931 Dixie Series and 1948 Negro League World Series also were played at Rickwood. Well over 100 Hall of Famers took the field and have played at Rickwood. Some of the game's all-time greats, including Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, Jackie Robinson, Hank Aaron, Reggie Jackson, and many, many more. The list goes on and on. Even standout performances like Jose Canseco's 3-home run game in 1985 and Prince Fielder leading the Huntsville Stars in the 2004 Rickwood Classic stand out in its history. Movies have been shot at Rickwood, such as the movie Cobb, 42, and Soul of the Game. The movie industry coming to Birmingham has helped kickstart the revitalization of Rickwood and bringing it back to life. Two excellent books about the history of Rickwood are Rickwood Field, A Century in America's Oldest Ballpark by Alan Barra, and Bases Loaded with History, The Story of Rickwood Field, America's Oldest Ballpark by Timothy Witt. I highly recommend both books that go into great depth in history with a lot of photos. Willie returned to Rickwood in 2002. To my knowledge, the first time that he had returned to the ballpark he played in as a teenager in the late 1940s. That year, I was working for the Birmingham Barons, the White Sox AA affiliate, and we had worked a deal with Willie to use his likeness on a bobblehead for a stadium giveaway. I worked on that project, and part of our deal with Willie was that if he would sign 5 of the bobbleheads, we would auction those off and donate 100% of the proceeds to his Say Hey Foundation. Willie decided to come to Birmingham to sign those and to meet us, but he didn't want to do an appearance at the game itself, so we arranged for a time for him to come and we could get together with him. He came to Birmingham. We weren't sure exactly what his plans were, how long he was going to stay. But we offered to take him back to Rickwood Field where he played when he was a teenager. He agreed, and so on the second day that he was in town, we took him to Rickwood, and there was probably 6 or 7 of us there. I believe Cope Matthews, who was the head of the Friends of Rickwood at the time, and David Brewer, who ran the ballpark, was there, along with a couple of us from the Barron's office, and Willie and a woman named Renee who traveled with him and helped him with PR appearances and such. She worked for the Giants. So we took him to the ballpark. he checked it out. He reminisced a little bit. It was kind of hard to gauge his reaction, but he seemed to be enjoying himself. I brought the bobbleheads with me, so we stepped into the press box there at the ballpark, which had been updated and was air conditioned. And it was a really hot day, so that was an awesome step in the right direction because we were all burning up. While we were cooling off in the press box, Willie signed the bobbleheads and we all relaxed a little bit. This turned into 2 to 3 hours of all of us just sitting there asking questions and Willie telling stories. It was an incredible time and something that I can never repeat again. From in terms of baseball and my baseball life, it's just off the charts. Most of the stories that Willie told were stories that you would read in his biographies, common stories. But there was one that really stood out to me that I wanted to share with you that I thought was very interesting. As many of you know, Willie played with Bobby Bonds with the Giants for many years, and Bobby was is the father of Barry Bonds. And Willie told us the story. Willie was Barry's godfather and had known Barry since he was a child. So Willie tells us a story about late in Barry's career when he was, I believe this was the last time that he was eligible for free agency and had become a free agent, that Barry had come to Willie and or Bobby and told them that he was wanting to sign with the Yankees. The Yankees were offering him big money. I don't recall whether he said was going to or whether he wanted to, but the conversation came up, and as Willie told the story, he and Bobby sat Barry down and told him in no uncertain terms was he going to sign with the Yankees. You have to understand that Willie's telling this story from the perspective of being Barry's godfather and knowing Barry since he was a young child. So the tone of it made the whole story very interesting. But basically, they told him that his legacy in retiring with the Giants was far more important than taking the money and playing for the Yankees for a year or two at the end of his career. That he would be much better off retiring as a Giant and cementing his legacy that way. Again, the tone of the story is what made it. The way he explained it, they told him no, he's not going to do so. And I'm sure that the conversation wasn't exactly that way, but he had all of us laughing. We were all kind of awed because it wasn't something that had come up in the press that Barry had planned on doing. Or I don't recall it even being that close to a situation where it was going to happen. So most of this was behind closed doors, at least the best of my recollection. So I thought I would share that with you. I know at times Willie gets a little bit of a bad rap for being a little bit tense and not the most friendly person. But I think that truly is a bad rap. What I found in the few days that I spent around Willie is that he's not the best in public situations. He's not the most comfortable when strangers are coming up to him asking him for autographs. Um, but when you get him in a situation where he can relax, he knows the people around him, he's comfortable that they're not asking him for something, he does just that. He relaxes, he's comfortable, he's engaging, he's funny, and he was just a true pleasure to be around. And I really, really valued those times that I got to spend with Willie, especially the 3 or so hours that we spent at Rickwood. Again, knowing that he had played there as a teenager in the Negro League World Series before he went on to become the superstar that he did. If you're watching this before the game on Thursday night, I encourage you to take the time, watch that game, watch the pregame ceremonies and content. think that's going to be very interesting. I believe that the pregame starts at 4:30 Central Time on Fox. If you're watching after that game and you find this interesting, take a look at the books that I mentioned earlier. Watch some other videos on the history of Rickwood Field. There are plenty of great ones out there. Look for some of the players and look in the names of the players and the events that have happened at Rickwood. It's just the place is hallowed ground. You feel like you're walking back in time when you step into the place. And I encourage everyone to visit there when they get a chance. I know they're going to open the ballpark back up for tours at some point this summer. So I encourage you to check it out. Places like this don't last forever, and we need to enjoy them while we can. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you've enjoyed the content, please hit the like button, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to hear more. Please share the video with someone else that you think might enjoy it, and comments are certainly welcome. Let me know if there's something that I missed, if there's anything inaccurate. Let me know what you think of the stories. I'd love to hear from you. Putting out content like this is what I'm trying to do with this channel. I'm still fairly new at it. I'll talk about baseball cards a lot, vintage cards primarily. We'll open some cards. We'll show some grade reveals on cards. It'd be a mixture of different things, but at the same time, if you've enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel so that you can catch future episodes. And again, I thank you very, very much if you've made it this far and have stuck with me. I hope to see you again here on the Vintage Baseball Corner, and I will thank you again and have a great rest of your day.